Jai Radha Madhava Kunda Vihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Nitai Sachinandana, Nitai Sachinandana, Nitai Sachinandana, Gaura Hari. Jaya Nitai Sachinandana, Nitai Sachinandana, Nitai Sachinandana, Gaura Hari. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Gurudeva, 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 Jaya Gurudeva. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome to the Sunday Feast Lecture, the first Sunday Feast Lecture of 2024. Hari Bol. So, whenever we make a resolution to do anything, mainly to improve ourselves, there's usually a starting point, and that starting point is inspiration. And the word inspiration, or that feeling of inspiration, is actually a very mysterious phenomenon. So there's a sudden surcharge of energy, insight, and we almost feel like electrified, like I have to do something. And we just, it's a great start and we go ahead and do it. But we all know that great things require great force. Inspiration is a great starting point. Unfortunately, we can't bank on it to continue to sustain us. And it won't keep us moving. Only thing that can really help us move with that inspiration or resolution we made is habits that we can continue to perform on a daily basis. So the topic that I chose for you this fine Sunday afternoon is a topic of 7 habits that successful spiritualists have, or successful spiritualists observe, or successful spiritualists practice. So before we begin, I'd like to say a few prayers, because when we have any kind of discussion, especially a discussion that involves some level of spiritual knowledge, we try to open our hearts, open our consciousness, to get in the right frame of mind. The prayers I say in Sanskrit, some of you are not. So if you're not, please feel free to be present in that moment. Use that moment to just be present in this room and just feel it. Jana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayadi Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Sri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Krishna Chaitanya Ishwaram Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we're going to talk about the 7 habits of successful spiritualists. And these habits will not just help you with your spiritual endeavors, but also will help you with just any aspirations when you imbibe these actual qualities. So before we jump in, I wanted to make this session as interactive as possible. So I'd like you to turn to the person sitting next to you and share with them one quality that you want to develop in yourself that will help you transform your life in an amazing way. Just one quality. But there's a catch. There's always a catch. Catch is that the word should start with the alphabet S. Think of a quality that you want to imbibe this year that can change your life, that will make your life amazing. Just that the quality should start with the alphabet S. Go for it. A nice quality that you want to cultivate. Sincerity. Okay, we're already sharing. Okay, sincerity, very nice. How do you think sincerity will help, your life become better?
It's only with sincere prayers that we can ever make it out of this material trap.
Jai. So my Prabhu is saying that it's only with sincere prayers that we can make it out of this material trap. Very good. Anyone else wants to share?
Self-control.
Self-control, another amazing quality. How do you think that will really help you in life?
So basically, control of your emotions.
Controlling your emotions.
You should think before you say anything or you do anything.
Okay.
So just control your emotions.
Okay.
From your emotion, you do things you don't
Yeah.
want or you regret.
Right, yeah. So controlling your emotions, because if you don't control them, you'll end up doing things that you regret later on in life. Very nice. Self-control. Anybody else? Yes.
Soft-hearted.
Being soft-hearted. Beautiful. How do you think that'll help you improve your life?
Prabhupada said that if we don't become soft-hearted and we follow all the rules and regulations, we're just wasting our time.
Srila Prabhu is saying that. So Prabhupada said that if we don't become soft-hearted and we just follow the rules without being soft-hearted, we're just wasting our time. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else? Last one? Yes.
Simplicity.
Simplicity, I love that. Okay.
Live simple, think.
Yes. Yeah. Simple living, higher thinking. Yeah. Who actually taught us that? Yeah. You also thought of that, simplicity, yeah. It's a very nice phenomenon. Like, I read recently that Warren Buffett and other very successful CEOs, what they do before making any huge billion-buck decision is they have a small getaway during the weekend. They just take one change of clothes, plan a very simple diet. They go there, they just immerse themselves with nature, just have that set of clothes for changing. They just said that when they do this, when they live simply, it just opens up that head space to connect and to think. And for them, that is to make that $1 billion. And somebody has been teaching us this for so long. Who is that? Srila Prabhupada, the person sitting right behind us. He's been teaching us simple living and high thinking. Unfortunately, we need to hear Warren Buffett does that to actually imply that in our life, but whatever works for us. Sorry? Sandesh. Oh, okay, the sweet Sandesh. Sorry? Eat more sweets. Eat more sweets and you'll become sweet. I love that. Okay. All right. So time and again, we can see how people are successful in life. And there are these 7 habits I will discuss, which I feel will be very powerful, and I pray it will help us all transform our lives today for the better. So a thought that always runs in our mind when we see people do amazing things that we can't fathom or we can't do practically ourselves, we always think, How much time do they have? How are they doing this? I wish I had more time. That's our number one feeling, right? Like many of us feel that, do they have more than 24 hours in a day? Or 24 hours is just not enough. So successful people too think like that. They wish that they had more time to achieve and experience all the wonderful things that this world has to offer. But if successful people think, I wish I had more time, how do you think highly successful people think? And that's going to be a question I'll keep asking in today's lecture. How do you think highly successful people think? Any thoughts? Successful people think, I don't have enough time, I wish there was more time. Yeah, how do I use my time more wisely? That's a very nice thought. Anything else? Frankly, there will never be enough time. Never. Because life is filled with so many amazing opportunities that our desire to do things will fill up the time that we have. Therefore, what we really need more of is drive. Drive. According to the sages of the East, the amount of time we actually have in our life is actually enough. But the question is, do we have sufficient drive? Do we have the knowledge of how to utilize this time wisely? Do we have the ability to engage in that time that we have in order to achieve whatever we want to achieve to be successful? The most successful people in this world do not waste time. Every moment counts, and time is our most valuable asset. So when you utilize time appropriately, two things actually happens. You become more and more empowered to get done whatever you have with that same amount of time because you're not wasting it. And the second thing is, providence and divinity will open up windows of time that you never planned for because you're trying to achieve or utilize that time to do something higher. Right? That's why people end up saying that, oh, Krishna's mercy. Because it is Krishna's mercy. Krishna actually opens up that time we never thought we had. What do you think are some of the top time wasters in today's world? Cell phones, social media. Yes. So please think of a way that you can regulate your usage of device, your usage of technology, your interactions in social media, because that time could be spent in something far more productive, far more powerful, and far more progressive for your life. Any other way you think we waste time? TV, okay. Entertainment. Even entertainment is useful, but the right sort of entertainment that is not mind-numbing, but mind-engaging. Like, for example, you go and you garden. That's also a nice way of just relaxing. But when you watch TV, it's mind-numbing, right? You don't really learn anything. You don't really produce anything. Another one is overthinking, procrastination. That's a huge time waster. So do you know that actually not taking a decision is also a decision? And then not taking a risk is also a risk. So we have this notion that if we don't do anything, that's the safer option, but that's a complete misunderstanding. So that's our first habit. Second one is, successful people always have a to-do list, right? Like how many of you have? I have 3 to-do lists running in my phone right now. So I'm sure that we all have to-do lists because we know that failing to plan is planning to fail. And therefore you want to be successful, you want to have a structure of how you get your things done, when you want to do it, how you want to navigate your day, and you make sure that the most important things get done, not just the urgent things. So the question is, if successful people have a to-do list, what do you think highly successful people have apart from that? Yes? They have the Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay. That actually, she's right, that's the answer. Anyone wants to simplify it? It's a to-be list. Srimad Bhagavatam is examples of so many wonderful people. It's something that we can aspire to be, lessons we can learn, and so forth. So it's a to-be list. That's what highly successful people have. Not just SMART goals, which are important. having a goal that is specific, having a goal that's measurable, realistic, achievable, time-bound, right? We all learned this. That's very important. But a to-be list, along with a to-do list, is very, very crucial. So a devotee was once sharing that when they went to a monastery in the sense like our brahmachari ashram, one of the assignments that they were assigned one particular day was they had to plan their own funeral. So the devotee who was leading that session for the aspiring monks took them like 20, 30, 40 years down the line to the moment that they died. And then with their, mind's eye, they were asked to visualize who would come, what would the theme be of the funeral, what will people be saying to each other, what will they be wearing, talking, who would actually make it. And then at one point, they were asked to decide that whoever knew them best were to come and give their eulogy, their life's eulogy. And that had to include 3 important topics. And they were, what was this person's greatest quality? What was the person's greatest achievement? And finally, what difference did this person make in this world? Like, just think of ourselves also, right? Like, when we think of that, we think, what did I do last month? What did I do last year to become the person that I want to be remembered as when I leave? It's very revealing, because those monks then realized that we all have a to-do list, but we don't have a to-be list. And you know what? People are not going to remember you, unfortunately, for your achievements, but they're going to remember you for your character. They're going to remember you for the quality of personality that you have, the way that you touched their lives, the way that you carried yourself in this world. Unfortunately, we put so much emphasis on like visible parts of life, like how much grade I got in school, or what's my rank in society, or power in society. But actually, end of the day, people remember you by your character. So highly successful people don't only focus on competence and achievement, but they also focus on character. And the amazing thing is that if you focus on good character, if you focus on your to-be list, then all your achievements will naturally flourish or will come along. So this is a great segue to our next habit, and that is successful people always find role models and follow them. I'm sure we all have role models. Anyone wants to share who their role model is and why? I'm sure we all had that English assignment wherein we had to write our role model and say why. Yes, please. Srila Prabhupada, Jai. Spoken like a true Prabhupada disciple. Jai. And why?
Because he has given us all that we need to know. If we take the time to sincerely listen,
Jai.
all that we need to know.
Jai. Jai. He has given us, I'm repeating everything because people online, Haribol, can't really hear us, so I'm just repeating so that they can. So Srila Prabhupada has given us everything that we need to know, if only we had the time and sincerity to hear that. Fantastic. So what I wanted to share is that we all find role models and we try to follow them. But we forget something very important, which is to find ourselves. Because sometimes what happens is we find and identify inspiration and people, and we try to imitate their life. We try to become a copy of someone else. But actually, each of us are so unique, and we are endowed with amazing abilities and qualities. Einstein said, everyone is a genius. But if you convince a fish to climb a tree, it will live its whole life thinking it was a failure. So the world we live is so much about comparison, about competition, and we're always trying to keep up with each other, or trying to make it in society just to copy someone else. Imagine you go to an examination, right? And then when you sit for examination, you realize you're sitting next to the topper and the most intelligent kid of the class. And what do you think? Oh, Krishna, it's your arrangement. And what do? We think, oh, I'll do the unspeakable and just copy. So I'll make sure I ace the exam. And you successfully do that. The invigilator is not good and you copy all the answers. And you come out feeling, I'm going to ace this exam. But during that hallway discussion, which we're all used to after the exam, we realized that each question paper was different. You had your question paper, they had their question paper. So they say you're born original, don't die a copy. So in Sanskrit, what all this means is we have to find ourselves, and that is called we have to find our dharma. It's very crucial. Everyone has their own purpose and everyone has their own calling. And in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna actually says, and he repeats this twice in the sloka 18.47. Shreyan swadharmo vigunan paradharmat swanishtitat swabhava niyatam karma kurvan apnoti kilbisham. It is better to engage in one's own occupation, even though one may prefer perform it imperfectly, than to accept another's occupation and perform it perfectly. Because by following your own purpose, your own occupation, eventually you'll be successful. So don't forget to find yourself. Everyone has something amazing to contribute in this world. We'll move on to the next habit. So successful people go from IQ to EQ. And we're all familiar what IQ stands for. Intelligence quotient. So people think that the most successful people are the people who have the highest IQs or the people who have incredible ability to understand something analytically and so forth. But later on, social scientists have shared that if we don't have EQ and we don't have the ability to control our emotions, which is what you shared, then you can have all the so-called intelligence of this world, but it won't render you happy and successful, and ultimately you won't be able to achieve all your goals. And this intelligence, so-called intelligence we talk about, that can be lost easily. Krishna says that in Bhagavad Gita again, 2.63. Krodad bhavati sammoha, sammoha smriti vibrama, smriti brahmad buddhinashat, buddhinashat pranashyati. From anger, complete delusion arises. And from delusion, bewilderment of memory. And when memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost. And when intelligence is lost, one falls down again into this material pool. So in this world, we can understand that it's not just about having IQ, but it's also important to have EQ. What is EQ? The ability to have a good relation with somebody else. So the most successful people in this world have really good relationships, and they have very good interactions because they have high emotional quotient. But what do you think highly successful people have, apart from having EQ? They have SQ, spiritual quotient. So social scientists now say that it's not enough to just have a high EQ, but also develop a spiritual quotient and seek answers for questions like atato brahma jignasa. That means ask questions like, who am I? Where am I? Why does this world exist? What is this ultimate journey that I'm on? What is beyond all these material achievements of this world? What more is there to life? So all these questions, the answers for all these questions lies in the spiritual realm. And they give us a deeper perspective to life, to this world, and that's what highly successful people think of. So it's not just having intelligence and a balanced emotion, but they develop spirituality, which gives them an orientation of what they should be doing. And therefore, it's also something that we can work on in our lives to develop a spiritual quotient. Sri Sunitai Sachinandan Dev Bhagwan ki Jai. Now the question is, how do I develop this spiritual quotient? We develop this spiritual quotient by having discussions with spiritual people, by immersing ourselves with a wealth of spirituality that's out there in this world. And to develop our own spiritual quotient will really empower us to have an emotional balance, and we'll get that intelligence that we need. And so therefore, the most successful people in the world have a very, very deep spirituality. This person, Einstein, that everybody starting from age 90 to a 9-year-old kid knows Einstein. He himself is a very spiritually inclined person, we understand. So that's crucial. Moving on to our next habit. So successful people, they realize that they have really far to go in life. As in, they realize that there's a gap between where they are and where they want to be, or what they want to achieve. And thus they develop a sense of humility that, hey, I have a long distance to go. So I shouldn't be complacent, I shouldn't be proud, I shouldn't feel like I've done it all or achieved it all. There's so much more to achieve in this world. And that's how successful people think. Now, how do we think highly successful people think? What's their mode? They actually celebrate the small wins in life. Rather than seeing how far I have to achieve, they see, how far have I come? And then this will help us from not feeling dejected, not feeling disappointed, not feeling depressed. We have 10-year-old kids feeling depressed nowadays. Why is that? It's this undue competition, attention, or undue focus on where they need to be rather than thinking how much they achieved and where they have come. And rather than thinking that if I have demonstrated, every one of us have demonstrated in our own lives that if you put your mind to something, that you have achieved it, right? And rather than celebrating that and empowering us and creating a hope, we doubt ourselves, we get depressed, we complain, we become dejected. So the goal here, or the tweak here that we need to make is, or this is what at least highly successful people do. What do? They look forward and see where they have to go. They become empowered seeing how far they have come. Because it's so easy, again, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, your mind can be your best friend and your worst enemy. So rather than empowering ourselves, it's so easy to become our biggest critic and disempower ourselves. So we need to be crucial to see how we can celebrate our small wins and have that presence mentality. Moving on, another successful people quality is they see the glass half full, right? They're optimists. They see the glass half full. They see the opportunity that was to come, that has come, and its glass is half full. Now, what do you think highly successful people think when they look at a glass? Any thoughts? It's a very common phenomenon we've all discussed or heard the discussions on. They see that the glass is completely full. It's half full with water and half full with air. It's completely full. So we tend to think that the blessings are just good things, and the prosperity, the beautiful things that have happened, and everything that has transpired to happen according to our plan is all our blessings. It's what's half full. On the other hand, everything that was difficult, everything that we considered an adversity, everything that has transpired in a different way are the empty parts of our life. But we don't realize that all these twists and turns which we didn't expect are as valuable, if not more valuable, than all the things that we have already achieved and that we are grateful for. Therefore, This is the quality of a highly successful person, that they see every failure, every difficulty, every obstacle, every uncomfortable situation as an opportunity to gain something that even prosperity or even if something that went on well could not have provided you. So the learning here is to embrace whatever comes in your life and seeing a value in that. And that's what we say. It's all Krishna's mercy, right? Even if it's bad, even if it's good, it's all Krishna's mercy. And that's why the glass is full. So there was this person who went for an interview at Google. He came back from the interview and he tweeted in Twitter, I went for an interview, I met some wonderful people, but I was rejected. Who would say that, right? Like always, Instagram is full of just smiling faces, happy faces, no fights or anything, right? Everyone wants to have a polished view, but this person was so brave to do that. Then this person later on went and had an interview at Twitter. And then he came back and tweeted saying, I had an interview at Twitter, I met some amazing people, but I got rejected. This was the person who then later on to invent something themselves and then sell it to Facebook for $19 billion. Any guesses who? Have you heard or read anywhere? It's the creator of WhatsApp. So in the story we can learn that the art of how to take a letdown in life in style, right? So if you understand how to deal with so-called failure, then you are able to empower yourself with a totally different type of success. But in today's world, the problem is we quickly become deflated as soon as we have an adversity, rather than allowing ourselves to grow from it. Therefore, rather than seeing the glass half full, we see the glass is completely full, and those things that you would rather not have in your life, accept them to be actually in your life for a purpose. Moving on to another habit, which is actually the final one. Time went quickly. I'll share with you is successful people, they want to change the world. They want to make a contribution. They want to do something to make this world more beautiful or more attractive or more meaningful to people in society. Because when they look at the world, they see so many problems, economic problem, environmental problems, so many difficulties in our day-to-day life. So successful people have this broad-mindedness that by which they think that I'm going to go out there and make this world a better place. Coming to our favorite question of the day, how do you think highly successful people think? Yes. Excellent. They want to change themselves first. Thank you. So leadership, you have to be the change that you want to be in yourself. They say that by changing themselves, the global revolution begins with personal resolution. So I think it was the Archbishop of UK who said that I thought I wanted to change the world. And I realized I couldn't. So I thought, okay, let me change my country. Then I realized it's too difficult with all the bureaucracy and red tapeism and so forth. Then I thought, okay, let me change my family. And you know how easy that is. And then he thought, okay, leave my whole family, which consists of 4, 5, 6 members. Let me change my wife, or let me change my spouse. And you know how easy that is. And then finally he decided, you know what? I should maybe change myself. I need to develop myself. I need to focus on myself. And then once I do that, seeing me as an example, they will change. And maybe with their help, I can change the society, and eventually the country, and then finally the world. So we also point out and look around and become right ourselves, right? Invest in ourselves, empower ourselves. You are the best contribution to the world. But you can't take the world to a higher place than what you yourself have reached internally. So therefore, the most successful people in the world want to make a change to the world, but they realize that unless they become what they're meant to be, they can't do anything for anyone else. and therefore they spend time working on themselves. So here today, I try to share with you some of the qualities of highly successful people. We'll do a quick recap, and then we can talk about some examples. And I'd like you all to, in the beginning of the class I mentioned, I wanted this to be an interactive class, and now we have more people here, so the recap will be very helpful. So the first one was, if successful people think, I wish I had more time. Highly successful people think, there's never going to be enough time. Therefore, I have to have enough drive. I have to have enough drive. Very good. Second, if successful people have a to-do list, highly successful people have a to-be list. Very good. Third, if successful people find role models and follow them, then highly successful people do what? They find themselves. Fourth one, if successful people go from IQ to EQ, highly successful people go from IQ to EQ to SQ, spiritual quotient. Excellent. Fifth one, if successful people think, I have to go so far, highly successful people remember how far they came. Perfect. Number 6, if successful people see that the glass is half full, highly successful people see that the glass is completely full. Excellent. Finally, if successful people want to change the world, highly successful people want to be the change the world wants to see. Thank you all so much. Thank you for paying this much attention. I really liked how Prabhu mentioned that Srimad Bhagavatam is our to-be list. So I know of a very, very successful person that some of you mentioned is your role model, person sitting right behind us. That's none other than Abhay Charanaravanda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. I thought, why not use him as an example and show what a highly successful personality he was. And you all can help me along with that by sharing your realization. So the first thing is the drive, right? At what age Srila Prabhupada decided to come to the United States of America? At the ripe old age of 69, 70. The ripe old age of 69, he decided to come to America. Why? Because he had that drive, that focus on his guru's words, and he had that drive. Not thinking that, oh, I wish I had more time, or, oh my God, this much time has gone by, what's the use of my life? No, he had that drive to get on that boat, to get on Jaladuta and come here and make a difference. And then highly successful people have a to-do list, and he had a to-be list. What did he say? I didn't come to America, Srimad Bhagavatam came to America, and Srimad Bhagavatam is that to-be list that we have, right? It has successful stories of amazing personality. And he was that acharya, he was that example for the world to see. The next thing is highly successful people want to find themselves, highly successful people want to find role models, highly successful people want to find themselves. He found himself. He found himself by studying the scriptures, understanding his personality, understanding what he could contribute to society, and he wanted to share that ability to find yourself. Ask all those questions. Who am I? I'm the part and parcel of Krishna. What's my purpose in life? To go back home, back to Godhead, yes.
But when he heard the order of the spiritual master, it took them many years until it was the time for him to go, but he chanted 300,000 rounds when he was there staying in Vrindavan. He did all the things that great sadhus do to prepare themselves to be an instrument of the Lord. So the instrument of the Lord, I think, is the most essential part.
Jai. So Prabhu was sharing, I'm going to repeat myself, or if someone can help get a microphone, that'll be easy, we can pass along so people online can hear, but I'll just repeat what Prabhu shared. Is that when he was waiting, also Srila Prabhupada till the age of 69, he meditated on the instructions of his spiritual master and he was preparing himself, right? He was preparing himself. He didn't waste his time. He was preparing himself. He was meditating, and what did you mention as the most important thing?
He was acting as a puppet for the spiritual master and for God. He was acting in service.
Yeah, he was acting as an instrument.
For himself.
He was not doing it for himself. Jai, thank you so much. So he found himself. Moving on, he was extremely intelligent. If any of you have heard his interviews, read his books, you can understand he's extremely intelligent. There's no subject matter that he was not aware of that touched the surface of the earth or beyond. And he had amazing emotional quotient. Otherwise, how can a 70-year-old Indian-bodied man or personality associate with, discuss, or like be at the same level, or have a relationship with 20-year-old hippies in the United States of America? Right? Can you just fathom that? If he hadn't had the highest emotional quotient, that's impossible for someone to achieve. So he had the highest emotional quotient. And along with that, because he was an extremely successful individual, he had the highest spiritual quotient. And he shared that with all of us. And then next one is successful people think how far I have gone, how far I have left to go. But highly successful people think of how far they've already come. Srila Prabhupada, always used to reminisce and mention to his devotees in inner, discussions that, oh, my father wanted me, or my mother wanted me to be a barrister, but my father wanted me to be a sadhu. And he realized that, where he came from the temple and other Damodar Mandir, to now having 108 centers all around the world. I don't know how many of you have seen Abhay Charan. I'd request you to see it. It's a wonderful depiction of the life story of His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, created by another wonderful Acharya, His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj, wherein Srila Prabhupada is just walking down a lane. He loves doing his morning walks, and this is just when he came to the US. And one man walks by and he asks, oh, who are you? Are you a sadhu? And then he says, yes, I came from the East. He talks about Krishna consciousness. He's like, do you have any centers here? Do you have any people? Do you have any temple? He's like, yes, we have temples all over the world. He didn't even start, but he knew. So that's the tendency of a highly successful person. They have that belief in their guru. They remember how far they have come, and they know what they will achieve. And then successful people see the glass is half full, but highly successful people see the glass is completely full. Srila Prabhupada, whenever he got an opportunity, talked about his whole yatra in the Jaladuta, meaning the ship, the passage he came through, the 2 heart attacks he had to encounter. He could have easily gone back in that return ship. The ship was going to go back. It's a cargo ship, right? He could have just gone back. There were so many adversities. He came with the intention to, his guru said, if you have any money, use it to print Krishna's books and spread books, or do book distribution. So his source of doing that was his typewriter, so he could type all that. Even that typewriter, and you can imagine what quality that typewriter would be. It would have been a broken, a very old typewriter. That very typewriter got stolen. He could have given up and he could have gone. He never did. He always saw the glass was completely full. Another quality of a highly successful person. And finally, successful people want to change the world. He wanted to change the world, but he focused on changing himself, and that's what Prabhu was mentioning. How many ever years since he took initiation, then took sannyas, he was just working on the Srimad Bhagavatam, equipping himself with all these wonderful spiritual missiles to make sure that then he could help and change the world. So that's the discussion for today. We have about 20 minutes, which is quite good. Any thoughts, any discussions, anything you want to share based on whatever I shared? What are your resolutions? How do you think you can now achieve them with, now that you know these 7 qualities of a highly successful spiritualist?
Just raise your hand if you want to say something. Krishna. It was an amazing class. I was listening on YouTube while driving here. So I really love the to-be list thing. I have, 10 pages of my to-do lists, but the to-be list is what I want to take on. That's what I'm taking back from this class. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Do you want to respond? Do you want to say something?
No, that's wonderful.
Action?
Yeah, thank you.
Anything? Oh. Anyone else? Okay. I'll come this way.
Yeah. I had been finding myself getting more and more depressed the darker the days got.
Oh.
Because it also meant that I couldn't see to paint.
Paint?
Paint. And I understood that this was beyond my control. I made little arrangements around the house, and still, unless I painted right then when the sun was right there, sometimes I did, sometimes I didn't. But what I now found that I can do this year is I can listen to the Bhaktivedanta Library, and I listen to all of Bhagavad Gita with Srila Prabhupada's purport
Jai.
since the day of the Advent. And now I am listening to Srimad Bhagavatam with all the purports.
Jai.
And I am hearing, and it is so wonderful. And I am hearing Prabhupada explaining, and I'm getting a completely different understanding of that, and I am just so happy to get this mercy.
Thank you for sharing. That's very inspiring.
Thank you so much for the class, Mataji. I think the point that I felt was that strongly affected me was the point that where you don't just role model, but you try to bring out your own uniqueness. And many a time we go after trying to imitate great personalities. A simple example is Haridas Thakur, how he chanted profusely with great emotion almost all day, 192 rounds. We can't even imitate a fraction of that. Instead, you have to know thyself, to like what you spoke of, and bring out your own personality, or else you can get lost trying to become a fish who can fly, like you said. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Any other?
As Prabhu brings the mic, I just wanted to share, even Prabhupada, when he saw some of his disciples chant more than 16 rounds, at least in the initial days, he was like, why are you chanting more than 16 rounds? Go and preach, go and build a Rath Yatra cart, do service. So yeah, we cannot imitate what Haridas Thakur did. We can maybe try to learn the mood or the attention he had to the holy name, or see that he had taste for it. How can I develop? But yeah, thank you for sharing. Yeah, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you for the great class. One thing that I really liked about it is like your simplicity in explaining these concepts to us, which are so much like, even for the kids, it would be so easy to understand and to remember. Like what my favorite part of that was when you said how far you have come versus thinking how far you're going to go out, right? Like we can make all the plans in the world, and I have a friend who's like a pure karma yogi, and she has like a big plan of like opening.
Try to use the mic. So we can hear.
Mike says has its own consciousness.
I guess so.
Prabhu just said Mike has its own consciousness.
And then, so I have a friend who is like this karma yogi, who wants to build like multiple Vedic centers, and she has her vision and everything. And I've seen her like getting depressed and being sad because she doesn't know what's like things happen to us because we're in this Maya world, right? So things will be thrown at us, right? So I think like I'm going to share this class with her so that she knows that she can be successful, but to be highly successful, these are the things that she has to do, I have to do, and all of us have to do. So Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. So rather than sharing this class, there's this wonderful class by His Holiness Swayam Bhagwan Keshav Swami Maharaj. That's the inspiration for today's class. I'll send you that link. You can send that to her. Hare Krishna.
Anyone else? Going once.
Hare Krishna. Amazing class. The thing that I recollect is also when we compare ourselves to others, we can run into the pitfall of becoming envious. And so it's best to just try to recognize our own unique talents and just go from there and not try to put ourselves in comparison to someone else. Prabhupada did say competitions, there is spiritual competition, and that's healthy. But if we're constantly thinking that someone is doing something better than us, then that opens the door for us to find fault and become envious.
100%. Thank you for sharing. Yeah.
Anyone else? So do you want to just give I see lots of people coming in right now. Do you want to just kind of summarize your class or the take-home message in a couple of minutes?
Sure.
After the input you've had?
Yeah. You want to share something? We're taking notes. I can give a quick recap again. So we all this was the first class of 2024, the first Sunday Feast class of 2024. January 1st just came by and went. On 31st Eve, New Year's Eve, we all make resolutions. I know I do, or I've grown up doing. So I thought, what will sustain? People always say you make resolutions to break them, but why, right? We want to figure that out and not do that. So inspiration is very crucial, and that motivation and inspiration is what actually really helps us make that resolution. Unfortunately, that's not sustained. Only thing that will sustain us is developing good habits. So I talked about 7 habits for highly successful spiritualists. You can check out YouTube and you'll hear a summary of this class. But thank you all so much for attending today's session. ISKCON Portland Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai.
Premarupa Madhavi Mataji ki jai.
Shri Prabhupada ki jai.
There's the message, but there's also the messenger, and she delivered the message very nicely and happily. All glories to your service. Hare Krishna. So, if devotees can put the green mats away, and we can start kirtan. Aarti is occurring. Thank you very much. Lamba wala. You can maybe come closer to her. That's wrong.
Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine. Krishna prestaya bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami iti namine Aya bhutale Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.